Bill Browder's with me. He knows only too well the wrath of President Putin. Bill Browder, firstly, from what you're hearing, before we talk about where you think it's going, from what you're hearing from your contacts, are any of these oligarchs, are they squirming yet? Are they annoyed? Are they feeling that, tell me what they are feeling.
The oligarchs are feeling absolute raw panic, sheer terror. You have to understand that these guys have spent the last 25 years, killing, fighting, defrauding, imprisoning, doing everything possible to get where they got. And they value money more than anything in the world. And all of a sudden, their money is inaccessible. They're no longer, their accounts are frozen. They can't sell, they can't buy, they can't do business with anybody. They're effectively made financial lepers in the world. Nobody wants to go near them. It is the most horrible thing if you're a Russian oligarch to be hit with these kind of sanctions.
So related to this, now Putin calling scum and traitors, they may be physically here, but their mindset is elsewhere, villas in Miami, south of France. Who's he talking about?
Well, I think he's talking about the oligarchs, and he's talking about other Russians who are westernized, who are watching the news of what's really going on. And he doesn't want any of these people to be, countering his narrative. He's got a whole fake narrative in Russia that nothing's going on. There's no war. There's no one dying. There's no soldiers dying. There's no innocent people dying. He's telling the Russian people this is just a small operation to get rid of a few Nazis in Ukraine, not this massive Holocaust that he's generating. And he doesn't like anybody who has access to this information, spreading it. And he wants to demonize anybody who has got this Western mindset, who has access to Western news, and who in any way opposes him.
But did those oligarchs or those who were close to him, or even days like Roman Abramovich, who claims he wasn't close to him, they are. How do they square this circle if they do? Because the West isn't going to give an inch, and Putin. Do they go back to Moscow? You tell me.
Well, I think Roman Abramovich went back to Moscow as far as the jet records show. I mean, they can't be in the West. They're not allowed to be in the West anymore. The sanctions don't just freeze their assets; it bans their travel. They're not allowed to be in the West, and so they can't go to the United States. They can't go to Europe. They can't go to Canada. They can't go to the UK. So they can't go to Australia. So where do they go? They go to Turkey. They went to Israel, and I think we had a quiet word with the Israelis, and they stopped taking them. And so they have to go back to Russia. But Russia is not a very good place for them to go either. You heard Vladimir Putin. It looks kind of like he's just organizing the camps out there, the gulags, for all these people.
But what does he want? It's a terrible. What does he want from them now? Does he want some overt sign of fealty and loyalty, a prostration in front of him to say how magnificent it is and how we are all for Mother Russia? I can't work out the purpose that he would attack these people.
Well, the main purpose is that he feels that anybody who's got any kind of money abroad is independent and independently wealthy, and in some ways independent from him. He wants everybody to be dependent on him. And my prediction is that all these companies the oligarchs own in Russia, they're not going to be private companies at some point in the future. Why should Vladimir Putin not nationalize them? I mean, that seems like a rational thing for him to do based on how little respect he has for the rule books. And so I think that we're entering a totally new era for Russia, where it's going to be more like North Korea than like any country that we know very well. I mean, I think that Vladimir Putin, it's all gloves are off. He's going full fascist.
If he's going full fascist, and I was listening to President Zelensky, and basically his speech today, you'll have heard it, to the German Bundestag, which is really the idea of never again. You've said it for 80 years and it's happened again. It's worthless. And he's been very clever, paraphrasing Churchill or Martin Luther King, but he's not getting what he needs, is he? He's not getting the planes and he's not getting the no-fly zone, and it seems unlikely that he will.
I'm not sure I agree with you. I think that it was unlikely, 4 weeks ago that Germany would be supplying Ukraine with weapons. They are now. It was unlikely that we were going to ever consider cutting Russia off for SWIFT, the banking system. We did. It's impossible to take whatever anyone has said today and apply it towards a week from today, because this thing is moving so fast. It's so heartbreaking. And as we watch all these things, what do we do if he unleashes chemical or biological weapons? We just sit back and say, well, that's their problem. We're not going to do anything.
That was my last question. You've come up against it. You've seen the murder. You've felt the effects of the attacks. You know firsthand. So what would you caution us to keep in our minds as this moves forward about Vladimir Putin?
The most important thing to understand is that he never backs down. There will be never a peace treaty. All this talk about peace negotiations is pure stalling tactic. There'll never be a peace treaty because he has no concept of compromise. He has no ability to back down. He only has a forward gear, not a reverse gear. If there is some, quote, peace treaty, it will be purely for tactical reasons, to rearm and pause so he can regain his strength. Vladimir Putin is a man who will continue to fight, continue to go forward, and will eventually threaten us with NATO countries in the West. And we should do everything we can possibly do in the meantime to stop him. And that includes total economic isolation. And that includes a no-fly zone, because we need to bog him down and stop him from his ultimate goal, which is to challenge all of our, pre 3 weeks ago world order of, NATO countries on the border of Russia. He wants them all.
And you and I will talk more, Bill. It's always good to talk to you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.